What's going on? This is Kareem from DJBooth.net, and I'm here in the lab with the review video of the brand new RANE 12 Serato DJ Turntable Controller. So what this is actually a full out controller for Serato DJ created by RANE, and as you can see from the construction, it's built like a tank. It weighs a lot. It has a very solid construction. It's metal all around everywhere, and it looks just like the mixers that we're used to seeing from RANE DJ for all of these years. This is a true RANE product all the way throughout. You know, there was some concern about the build quality of RANE products once the in-music brands that makes Denon and Newmar gear took over, but they can rest assured that this is top quality workmanship. Everything feels like RANE of old. And the build quality is just excellent. You've got a really sharp motor here, high torque motor. The platter feels really sturdy, and it's just an all-out sturdy example of a DJ turntable that's really a controller. So there's no real outputs on this device, so it's a full-out controller for Serato DJ. You don't need to use this with the RANE 12 mixer that we have the review coming up next week for. You can use this with any mixer that activates Serato DJ, and you can use it with any controller for Serato DJ as long as it has the capability to work alongside of the RANE 12, and that way you can use that as your mixing surface, and you can then use this as your control surface for one of your 4 Serato DJ decks. It works and feels just like a real true turntable. We're going to put this on the bench so that way we can go over everything on the inside and outside of this controller. You have to download Serato DJ, the latest iteration, directly from the website, and then you can download the drivers from RANE DJ website or directly from Serato DJ as well. And once you get those, you're off to the races. You're running with the controller, and it will work with anything else that actually unlock Serato DJ, the full version. So right off the bat, we're going to look at the inputs and outputs, or the connections. And the first connections you see here is just the power connection and a USB connection. There's also a switch here, so that way you can easily switch between the low torque setting of the motor, which gives you a more traditional 1200 Technique 1200 feel to the motor, or you can switch it to the high torque setting, which gives you that super high torque that we're getting on the super OEM turntables. My favorite is the high torque setting, of course. I just like that really snappy feel to the platter, and this pulls them both off perfectly though. You also have your power switch on the back, very rugged and durable there as well. And then again, your locking USB is there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the table, and we're going to go over each and every feature and function on the RANE 12 and show you everything that this controller turntable has to offer. So first things first, the first thing you notice about the RANE is this white control disc. In order to put this together, you have to put on the platter first, and then the white control disc goes on after that. You're able to change the tension of the control disc by using a little Allen key that they provide for you, a little hex head key. And that way you can screw it in as tight or as loose as you want it. If you're like a turntable rocker and you really like to scratch, or you use hip hop, then you're probably going to want this more looser than tighter. And if you're doing regular mixing, you'll probably want this a little bit tighter, so that way it's not as sensitive to your changes. There's also a slip mat underneath there, and you can use a regular vinyl record as well. RANE changed this to a white control disc about 6 months after release. They're saying that this is a better control disc than the black vinyl record that used to come with it, but I feel no real difference between the two. They both felt really nice. I do like this big black stripe here that is on the white control surface, so that way when I'm doing my turntable tricks and when I'm juggling, I can really clearly see exactly what position that needle position is in, so that way I can juggle a lot easier using this indicator. The motor itself is very strong. On the back there's a switch, so that way you can switch between having this in classical 1200 mode, or you can have this in the newer super OEM speed mode, which is super high torque. I personally like this better in the high torque mode, but you can change that sensitivity if you like the feel of the Technique 1200s better. These will feel and mimic exactly like the 1200s motor feel, and they'll do the same for the super OEM 4.5 to 5 kilograms of force when you're using the super OEM setting. Next up is the platter itself. The platter is very heavy duty, very solid, a lot of rubber underneath the platter, and it just feels very good, very high quality all the way around, like everything else in the build quality of the RANE 12. When you put it all together, that platter and that nice slippery disc surface, you really get really super low latency. It feels like true to life vinyl when you're doing all your scratches, and they just feel excellent when scratching with them. You also have your motor on off button here, so that way when you press motor off, you'll still get all of your audio and you can do all of your motor off tricks that you guys like to do. Next up, you have your start and stop button. It's illuminated ring on the outside. It's a nice metal top finish. Same with the 33 RPM and 45 RPM buttons as well. Next, all the way at the top, you have your pitch range select. So that way you can make the pitch range slider either plus minus 8%, plus minus 16, or plus minus 50%. And it's really solid, a really solid feel to the pitch slider. It feels like it's really going to last. There is a little indent at the 0, and it also has an illumination at the top, so that way you can see when it's right at 0 just at a glance. There's also little arrows here that give you to the plus or minus, so that way if you're flipping between different decks of your control through Serato, you'll know exactly where this pitch fader is supposed to be if you have a different deck running a different pitch indicator than what you're using now for your current deck. Next up in the top left, you have your hot cue section, and it also doubles as a track skip section. So when you're in hot cue mode, you see the different corresponding colors of your hot cues match whatever's on your mixer and in the software. And you can easily play these hot cues. They're very accurate, but unfortunately I wish these were actual rubber type buttons, like rubber buttons like what you find here on the 72. It would have made it a lot more easier for you to finger drum with, and they just feel more robust to me than a touch strip. But the touch strip does double as a track finder, so that way you can scroll quickly through your track to find a specific point in a track that you're looking for. Okay, so in conclusion, the brand new RANE 12 digital DJ turntable is an excellent choice, an excellent solution for anybody out there that wants a real, true vinyl turntable feel for their performances without all of the feedback and all of the other issues that can happen when you're playing out on real vinyl with real needles and a real tone arm. So you're not getting any of that flutter issues, you're not getting any of the vibration issues that you would get when you're out there performing with these, and they just really feel like a solid turntable. You also have that really solid motor underneath there. It has the ability to change between the 1200 classic motor feel or that super high torque, super OEM turntable feel, and it nails both of them perfectly. It also has a really cool, sturdy tempo fader. It feels like it's really lasting a long time. It's very robust, and it's really smooth, and it just slides very nicely, so I'm very impressed with the tempo slider. And it also has the touch strip over here that you can use for all of your different hot cue functions, and you can also use it to search really quickly between your tracks. The main downside to not getting a RANE 12 for me personally is because it doesn't have the ability to play back real vinyl. A lot of scratch heads that are out there love to get their own vinyl, the real classic vinyl, and they love to be able to play that vinyl back whenever they want to, along with using their original turntables for the DBS and digital functions. I also don't like too much that they have a touch strip here. I would have much more preferred that they use like some Akai style pads, so that way you can finger drum better than using just a flat out touch strip. But at least they did find a way to put some actual hot cues on the deck itself, along with the touch strip function, which is really cool and important, so that way you can really get back to the beginning of your track very easily without having to look at your computer. So for more on the written review, you guys can head on over to www.djboot.net/DJS. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel for the new RANE 72 mixer review. We'll have that for you within about a week from now. So make sure you guys keep it locked. Stay tuned. Put the thumbs up if you like videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching.